Welcome to the after party, everyone. It's the Steelers preview after party. If you are a first time viewer or listener to this podcast, it's basically an extension of our Steelers preview show. In the summer months, in the off season, we did at the end of the show was a lot of just off the wall stuff, which we thought was fun, was funny. We thought it was some good sound that got left on the cutting room floor because a lot of people tuned out. So we decided, hey, what do? We'll just start our own secondary podcast. So if you just want to hear Steelers stuff, you've got the Steelers preview and you're good there. Now we have the after party, a little bit different. So guys, welcome to the after party, which sometimes, as I always say, can be better than the real party. When I say the Baltimore Ravens, you think of what, Brian?
I think about a lot of things because I live in Maryland, but I'm going to tell you, I think of fair weather fans. And I would probably say, and you fellas have experienced this too, that when things aren't going well, that team, we suck. They'll fire. They were trying to fire Harbaugh right after the Super Bowl because they just didn't think he had it. And they hated this guy. They wanted to fire him last year. They were hoping to go ahead and figuring trade him to Tampa Bay. There were talks that Tampa Bay wanted him before they hired Bruce Arians. And they were saying, let's go trade this guy. They are the biggest bunch of fair weather people I have ever seen. And I will give you case in point. August. They still thought that Lamar Jackson was crap and garbage. Now, you see that dancing gif of him dancing around and everyone celebrating how awesome he is. But you know what? He was nothing in August in the minds of Baltimoreans.
I love that. Baltimoreans. Dave, what about you? You think of Baltimore Ravens, you think of?
Yeah, Baltimoreans is I use that phrase a lot. Honestly, when I think of the Ravens, I think more of their fans, especially the fans in our area. And I would say about 92% of them that drive me nuts because they are completely uninformed. That's what drives me nuts about them. I mean, there's been times where the Steelers have beaten the Ravens 2 or 3 times in a season, and I saw people saying, "I don't care, the Steelers suck, the Ravens are awesome." Like, you've got nothing to back that up. When I talk to a Ravens fan that actually understands football and can actually honestly critique their own team and other teams and give credit when other teams are good and realize when their team is good or bad, I don't mind those fans. They're just really hard to find in the people that I run into around here.
Yeah, we live in Western Maryland. All three of us live in the same town, and it's tough. It's tough being a Steelers fan or a Pittsburgh fan in general here in this area. The one thing I can stand, and the Steeler fans fall into this category too, is that if you're going to make this glaring declaration about anything, have the guts to stick up and do it. I don't know how many people after the Ray Rice saga said, "I'm done. I'm done with this team. I'm done." Excuse me. And now they're right back on the bandwagon, posting on social media, who has the best record? It's like, you got to stick with your team through thick and thin. That's my biggest pet peeve when it comes to sports and sports teams are people that are just jump on and off the bandwagon, like Brian said, and just do whatever they want because, they're good this year. So I'm going to be supportive and I'm going to be all about the Ravens and have those stupid slogans that they wear that they have. What is it? Ravens flock. It's dumb.
There's so many. Oh, by the way, I know the guy you're talking about who asks the record every week because we're both friends with him on social media. I know exactly who you're talking about.
And it drives me crazy. It takes every ounce of my being not to comment. What about you saying you were done with the team after Ray Rice beat the crap out of his girlfriend at the time? It's just I can't stand it.
And they disappear when the team is not doing well. They completely disappear. You're like, they don't even like football. I have so many people I know that they're like, they pay no attention to any kind of football at all. But as soon as the Ravens start winning, oh yes, Ravens, woohoo! Like my sister-in-law is like that. I just want to kick her in the throat.
Well, you know what? Can I say something else?
Yeah. Not seriously. I'm sorry.
That's what. Yeah, please don't do that. I mean. But anyways, I by the way, I love the fact that you put up banners and changed out the college dorm look, but I definitely don't want to see you in like cell block C doing the show. So please don't kick anybody in the throat. So I want the background because my curtains won't be an issue if you're in cell block C. So, but you know what? I hate that White Stripes song. And every time they score, those people are. I used to like it. I think it was cool. Now I hear that every time they get a first down. And their dads run, woo! And I'm like, stop, I hate you. I went to a game a couple years ago and I heard that. I had a chance to go to this game this weekend. I don't care if they rest the whole team. I don't want to be around those people. And I have friends that are Baltimore fans, and I'll tell them, I keep on telling them, August, you hated Lamar Jackson. You didn't think they could win. You turned on your team after one game against the Chargers last year. One game you turned on them.
It goes deeper for me because what year did the Ravens start in Baltimore?
1996.
Yeah, because I knew all these people that were big Baltimore Orioles fans and Baltimore sports teams fans that didn't have a team at the time, and they constantly complained, yes, I despise the Colts. How could any city ever open up their arms to another franchise that would just leave like that? How terrible is that? You just can't do that to another city and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And what did those same people do as soon as they had the chance? Go buy all this stupid purple. I'm like, how hypocritical is that? Because for the longest time, I just said, if you wipe that purple hard enough, you're going to find orange and brown because they still are just the Cleveland Browns.
They don't admit to that, guys. There's no admitting to. Somebody told me when they were in the Super Bowl last time that in the 15 years of the franchise, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You have not, that franchise has not been around for 15 years. They might have their records, but I mean, and this is, I know they're past that, but I'm talking a few years ago. But you could put away their records, but they are brown and orange. That's who those guys are, and they always will be. What they've accomplished, I think it's amazing. I have no problem with that. They have done it, and I have respect for the franchise, but the way the fans cheer for that team and hate the Steelers, look, the Steelers don't hate the Ravens as much as the Ravens fans hate the Steelers. And I will go to my grave saying that.
I agree with that one. I can get behind that one 100%, Brian.
Would you say that there was a time where someone thought the Bengals were the bigger rival? Is there any chance that the Ravens aren't the Steelers' number one rival?
No. The true gauge is it doesn't matter who the Steelers' rival is. The Steelers are all these teams' biggest rival. The Steelers are the Bengals' biggest rival. They're the Browns' biggest rival. They're the Ravens' biggest rival because deep down, that's who all three of them want to be. And that's why it doesn't matter when you get years, even a couple years in a row with the Ravens winning the division. It doesn't matter. They all still just wish that they were the Steelers.
Dave's right. What do you think about, Jeff?
What's that?
What do you think about when you think of Baltimore, Jeff?
Well, I had my own experience with the city of Baltimore. I thought I was going to die a couple times. I went down there and took a wrong turn. It's a rough city. And, I just can't stand the people down there. And yeah, there are a couple, I have some friends that are level-headed Ravens fans. They're few and far between.
Same with me. Only a few.
Yep. Only a few.
They are few and far between. So Dave, you said you had something you wanted to bring up.
Yeah. I had somebody send me something via email or might have been on Twitter. I can't remember either way. And they wanted to know my opinion. And it was the little, I guess you'd say it was a GIF or a GIF, however you want to say it, of one Benjamin Todd Roethlisberger all bundled up and bearded on the sidelines, right next to a picture of one Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and wanted to know my opinion. And I want to know your guys' opinion. Can you think of any character, cartoon, live, movie, TV show, whatever, that you think the current look of our franchise quarterback, Benjamin Roethlisberger, and his current look that you would compare him to the most? And does any of them beat the Yukon Cornelius?
Wow.
Yukon Cornelius is ideal. I mean, that's perfect.
I think that's fantastic.
Or you could go with the Bumble. The Bumbles bounce. I mean,
really, Bumbles do bounce.
I can't think of anyone.
I thought of, because I had some more time to think about this, so then I could say it. What about if you're going like more of the specific? I'm even going to not just go with an actor. I'm going to go with a specific role, and there might even be a better role that you guys might think of. But I'm thinking like the Dinner for Schmucks version of Zach Galifianakis.
I can see that.
I'll give you a guy. I like that a lot, by the way. He doesn't have the beard. He has more of a mustache. But I think of the guy in Happy Gilmore that is 9 feet tall. And he wants to, I mean, he's always heckling him.
Oh.
No, he's not heckling him.
He's heckling him.
He was his boss. He was his boss, and
he
shot the nail
with the nail gun, who was the same actor that played
Jaws.
Yes, Jaws.
And
I was trying to remember what the bad guy was in the James Bond movies. I like to, when I was a teacher, I had a student that was a major Washington Capitals fan, and I would show her pictures to say how he was the doppelganger of Ovechkin. Especially when Ovechkin didn't have his teeth in. Then I said, "See, I'm like, I'm telling you, this is his dad." Richard, what was his name? Sorry with a K. I almost said Richard Karn.
He passed away. I know
he passed away.
Richard Karn died?
No. Richard, it's not with Karn, because that was Al from
Home Improvement and Family Feud.
But that was Richard. It started with a K. I can't remember. But when you said Happy Gilmore, I thought you were going to say the caddy.
That's where I was going.
The homeless guy.
Oh, the homeless guy. Yeah. You know what? That's true. Because I've told him a homeless guy for weeks.
He puts the cracker down to mark the ball and then picks it up and eats it.
Yeah. Who is an actor that plays in most of Adam Sandler's movies, but you didn't necessarily recognize him in that role, because he was.
He's one of Adam Sandler's boys. There,
I can't remember what his name is, but
he takes him everywhere.
Richard Keel. Thank you, Donald. Richard Keel. That was the name of who played the boss from Happy Gilmore. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Such a great movie. Such a great movie. So the
anyone else look like Ben to you guys? Jeff, you got one?
And not off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of just big. I mean, his beard is so thick. It's different than Kiesel. Kiesel's is long, kind of like ZZ Top. Mm-hmm. Ben's is just like this beard of bees, all around his face. So
I think if Ben wasn't a gazillionaire, I would swear that he hides his children in there to go to the movies. That's how big that beard is.
Ryan O'Toole says Seth Rogen.
Knapp has a good one too. Grizzly Adams. Oh,
Grizzly
so
Adams,
Dennis.
Yeah. They both said it. Yeah. Which is another, when I hear that name, I think of Happy Gilmore.
By the way, Alan Covert. Somebody had Alan Covert up there. That's definitely the guy. He was the limo driver in The Wedding Singer.
Yes, that was
Ronald Nolan brought that up. Alan Covert. Yes. That's a good pull.
Yep. Good one.
I just want to take a quick moment to say that Ron Chess, if you listen to last week's Steeler preview, Dave wasn't there right away. And so Bryan and I were on, and he was having issues. He was in Kohl's, right, Bryan?
Yes.
He needed help because his wife was dragging him around Kohl's, and Bryan gave him his thoughts. We'll put it that way.
Which were horrible.
And I got to put this up real quick. Cody Marshall said Ben looks like Rosie O'Donnell. So
Rosie has slightly more facial hair, I think. But
so anyway, so Ron, he needed some advice. How do I get out of this situation? And so Dad gave him the bad advice. I gave him the good advice. He said at the beginning of the show on the live chat, my wife gave me my own after party on the way. I was like, yes, I am glad to help. Maybe we should start the attorney after party into like relationship advice. Bryan can tell you what not to do, and I'll try to tell you what to do.
No, Jeff, I didn't get a chance to endorse what you said because that was so true, where you go around and you find stuff. But then you could also kind of pull the little everybody loves Raymond move. You start pulling out stuff that you think would look good for her, but it's really stuff that doesn't. And then do you know what she wants to do the next time she goes shopping? Leave you at home. So I don't think I've gone shopping with my wife for clothes for years because she would rather just go by herself.
Mine was to rile up the kids and just have her just like, all right, we're going home.
You were doing Bart Simpson with the giant bra.
Oh, yeah. I've done that. I caramba with the giant bra wearing on my head, and she's like, all right, we're going away. Jeff, 7 kids bad, minus 7.
I have 5. Okay, I have 5. So there
I only have 2, and gosh. I have can I tell you this, just a little off scene, and she's still doing it. Somebody had the bright idea, not me, to buy my daughter a curling iron for Christmas. And it's $9.54, and she's 10, and she's still curling her hair. In the middle of our show, in the middle of the first show, if you saw me going like this, like it's like because she had it stuck to her hair and was asking me to help get it out, and I didn't know what to do. And now I'm getting looks from her. I mean, there's craziness going on in the background of this house right now. So definitely not -7, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's a curling iron. Ron says that Jeff could be a marriage counselor. I don't know if I want to be a marriage counselor. I appreciate it, but I'm not sure if that's my calling card. So no, Steve. Steve said after the Steelers win this week, 5 will turn into 7. No, I took care of that 2 summers ago. Thank you very much.
Well, you know what? Can I mention this? I got in huge trouble with a wife this week, and it was.
I feel like you could say that every week.
Yeah, but no, but I got this was huge trouble. We really wanted to go see the Mr. Rogers movie together. So to make a long story short, I went for the Boy Scouts to set something up for a movie that we do in January, and I went to set it up, and the woman was talking about, this was last Thursday, and she was saying, well, I'm so busy with so much stuff, all I know is Star Wars right now, so I don't know what's coming up. But she mentioned a movie or two. I'm like, well, you'll see us a lot because the kids want to see Frozen 2, we're going to see Jumanji, we're going to see Mr. Rogers, we're going to come see Star Wars. She goes, well, if you want to go see Mr. Rogers, you have to go today. Not even tonight, because it's gone tonight because of Star Wars. So you need to go see it today. I'm like, oh, and my wife was home with my sick daughter all week last week, stuck with my daughter going, I'm sick every 3 seconds. And so she had a week. And so I'm there and I'm like, you know what? My wife wouldn't like it. We promised we'd go together. And the woman's like, come on, you know you want to. And I'm like, she goes, it's only $5 and you're not going to get a chance to see it. I'm like, you know what? I'll go see it. So I ended up telling her guilt. I told her 2 days later, and she was really upset. But she was even more upset because she said, you probably had popcorn too. I'm like, no, I didn't get popcorn. I didn't want you to see it on the receipt. So on the credit card receipt. So that got me in even more trouble. And I don't think I should be in trouble for that. Did I do the wrong thing? Jeff, you're the marriage guy. Did I do the wrong thing by... Was I selfish? Because I'm not a selfish husband. I know I play one here on this podcast, but I try to be really nice and sensitive to all of her needs. But that one, I got in so much trouble. She's still talking about it today.
And well, if you said you were going to see it with her and you saw it without her, or you broke up verbal promise.
But there was no way. There was no way that she could see it.
Well, but you act like that was the only day that it was in the theater.
No, it was the last day.
It was leaving the theater. It was last chance Thursday for $5, wasn't it, Brian?
It was 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes to make a decision, and I went with the devil on my shoulder, I guess. But would have you gone if you were in that situation?
No,
No,
I wouldn't have.
No, I mean, I go to movie premieres without my wife, but she knows about this and it's a planned thing. If it was a movie she wanted to see and I had the chance to go at the last minute and I wouldn't have even checked in with her before I did it, I wouldn't have done. I don't even know if I'd have checked. I would just would have said, you know what, I'll wait and take one for the team and catch it with her when it comes out on Blu-ray.
I don't get to go.
That's me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I couldn't do it.
I don't get to go to movies anyways because.
Sorry, Nap said, come on, Brian, you got to pay cash. You don't leave a paper trail.
I didn't have enough cash for popcorn. I had just enough cash for the ticket. So that's all right. So I guess I was selfish. That one moment I was selfish, but I went to the movie and it was awesome. I laughed, I cried, I even cheered. And it was so, I was seeing the Pittsburgh stuff, the fact that I just love this man. And then she made me feel even worse by saying that Mr. Rogers would have not approved of you going to that movie without me. And I'm like, you can't do that. Now you've tainted it. You've tainted when Tom Hanks wins the Academy Award for this, you've tainted it. Well, here's the relationship advice that I just got.
There you go. Lumberjack says, just end it. Just end it. Was the movie good, Brian? It was good?
Actually fantastic. It was really good. It's not what you expect.
Really?
I'm really bummed that I didn't get to see it. My wife really wanted to see it. So I there's no way I could have gone without her. I actually tried to tell her to go without me because I've watched movies without her. So, but it's good to know that it's good. We'll catch it as soon as we can.
Yeah. So you guys have anything else for the after party? I mean, it's been kind of subdued. I feel like Brian and his Sean Davis rant during the Steelers preview kind of left some juice in the action.
I've killed it. So sorry.
It's okay. It's
I
okay.
do have people talking about Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood on SNL.
By the way, I don't know if you haven't seen the Eddie Murphy stuff from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It was fantastic because I was watching it first run way back when he was on between 81 and 84. It was a callback to all of those characters. It was absolutely incredible. I loved Eddie Murphy. I don't watch a lot of SNL anymore, but this was fantastic because it was basically all Eddie Murphy.
There you go. There you go. A lot of people saying that I'm starting a football team and I need to drive a school bus. We have a lot of kids. I'm not Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers has like 9, doesn't he?
And Fitzpatrick has like
he has a lot too,
right?
Yeah.
So between those guys,
5 is right on the cusp of saying you have a lot. I mean, 4 I think is a good bit. 5 you're like, oh wow, that's a little bit next level, but it's not crazy.
It's people always say, man, you must be so busy. Busy's all relative, Brian has 2, Dave, you have 3. You're all busy in your own way, so there you go.
You know what? I want to answer a question I was asked how old I am. I'm actually the oldest one here. I know I look the youngest, but I know that's not true. But I'm actually 48 years old. So I just turned 48 in December. So I'm closing in on that 50. So that's why I do remember all of this stuff.
Dave, how old are you?
I am 41.
41, and I'm 36. I'll be 37 in February. So there you go. 48, 41, 36.
And here's the best part, though. I've got it all, baby.
I do not.
I am not going to remove my hat.
I'm ever going to win.
I am not removing my hat because you are not going to see how much I do not have it going on in the hair department.
Speaking of Tom Hanks movies, Jeff's going to be like in the Green Mile, Tom Hanks in the Green Mile, and live until he's 127 because of how healthy and how he takes care of himself. And then there's me that I'm hoping to be on the show next week at this point.
It's funny they said that where was that? About it was another shot of Brian's curtain. Okay, they want to know. Yeah, you're 48, but how old are the curtains?
You know what's funny? We talked about this off. My wife bought these in 2009 or 2010, and she was going for the retro look. When I told her that Lance ripped on it, she was so mad at Lance, and she's never met him. I'm like, Lance is awesome. She goes, he ripped on my curtains. I don't know. And so and you saw him like tonight, hashtag Mr. 2 a.m. curtains. So now I'm going to be the curtains for bad now.
Jeff, I have a quick question for you since we still have a little bit of time here.
Sure.
Since we're talking about those of us that are follically challenged, how about your brother? Does your brother have a full head of hair?
Full head of hair.
That same with my brother. That's what I don't get.
Which it's funny because genetics state that it's on your mother's father's side, which my grandfather, my mom's dad died when she was 3 of cancer. So we have no way of knowing whether he would have lost his hair later in life or not because he died in sort of full head of hair. He was relatively young. So I don't know. My hair is up. It's been getting thinner in the back. Probably the last 3 or 4 years, I started noticing. And I said, you know what? I'm just buzzing it. Screw it. Just buzz it. So
that's what I'm ready to do. But I made the deal with my wife that I would not do that whenever I was allowed to purchase my seat licenses for my Steelers tickets. That was one of the stipulations. She is in control of that department as to when I'm allowed to buzz my hair, but it's getting to a point where I don't have much of a choice.
You know what? I don't have a choice on. I'm not allowed to have facial hair. My wife thinks I look like a cheesy porn star when I mean, I look like Ron Jeremy's son when I go ahead and try to grow a mustache. And every time
being a mustache guy.
Every time I try to grow a mustache, she goes, "You're trying to look like Magnum, aren't you?" Because Magnum's awesome. Tom Selleck is awesome. And Jeff, I know you talk about you rip on John Oates all the time, another great mustache. But I will divorce you, Jeff, if you rip on Tom Selleck, because he is the man.
That is the mustache of mustaches.
Yeah, I mean, that is the mustache.
That is the standard that every mustache is judged by. That you're like, wow, if you can even be mentioned in the same category as Tom Selleck, then that's different. But one thing that I find is different is that we talk about our hair. Bryan says you're not allowed to grow facial hair. I'm not allowed to shave mine off because I have to cover up as much of the ugliness as I can. But notice, do we really get any say in like our wives and how they decide to cut their hair or anything?
My wife,
I don't yell at her if she grows a mustache. I mean, it's just...
my wife says nothing about I have a beard, whether she likes it or not. I'm gonna shave my beard whenever I want. I cut my hair. She didn't care. She goes, I don't care what you do.
That's the true renegade.
She loves you for you, Jeff.
You know what? We could pull up Renegade and do slow motion of Jeff just at home. Oh, mama. And Jeff just like coming in, slamming the door. Oh, mama. I can see that. We got to work on that. We need somebody out there. If we can get just video of Jeff and someone that's really good with that stuff, we need a Renegade video with Hartman and with him working out and doing everything he does. That'd be great. I do want to bring something up. So, I know I kind of squashed it earlier in the other show and I brought the mood down, but the true spirit of the after party is talk about fun stuff. And we've already talked about 3 Tom Hanks movies. So I want to talk to you guys. And I think Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors of my generation. Maybe he's a little bit older, but I think Tom Hanks is one of the absolute best. So if you had to rank your Tom Hanks movies, how would you do it? Jeff, I'll start with you.
And for me,
take over your role.
Forrest Gump is top. I've always loved that movie for a multitude of reasons. So if that's 1, Saving Private Ryan might be 2. Dave, would you throw in any other ones up there?
You are so young. Oh my goodness, you're.
You could talk about Big. I mean,
Big and Turner and Hooch. My wife, her
Turner
favorite.
And Hooch. You're putting Turner and Hooch with
no. But I'm just listing them out. My wife, she would say The Burbs. She loves that movie. And Tom Hanks in that movie, and his comedy stuff is fantastic, and people just forget about that anymore. I mean, because everything that he does is so good. But you got to. I mean, he was excellent as Forrest Gump. I would say that.
Probably the best performance of the guy's lifetime. He was great in Philadelphia, but I'm not going to rank that up as one of my favorites. I will say Bachelor Party was where I really thought he was awesome. He was good in Splash. Splash was a really good one. But I'm going to throw into this performance, he's going to get number 3, Oscar number 3 for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I guarantee you he will. But there's so many great things that he did. Dave mentioned Big, but one of my favorite Tom Hanks moments, and if you've never seen it, it has nothing to do with the movie. He's in a restaurant, and this guy is completely smashed. So Google Tom Hanks drunk guy at restaurant. It'll come up right away. So Tom Hanks goes over to this drunk kid. I mean, not kid, but he's probably in his early 20s. Goes up to this kid who's just like face down, and he pulls his head up and puts his arm around and takes selfies of himself and this kid and leaves it on his phone. The drunk kid wakes up and puts it online, and it's one of the greatest things ever. It was really cool.
He was in a lot of movies. I'm looking at the live chat now, like Money Pit, Toy Story. I
Green
actually,
Mile, though, fantastic.
I
How
actually
about
like.
Saving Mr. Banks when he was Walt Disney?
I just saw that recently, and my wife's a huge Disney fan. He was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
Of course, Sleepless in Seattle is a favorite. Jeff, have you seen Sleepless in Seattle?
Not all of it.
What else were you going to say, Jeff? You had another one, didn't you?
I mean, Big is probably the first one I remember as a kid watching Big, and that was great. But I also am a big Dan Brown. I love his books. So when he did the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, I really like those movies because I love the books too. And like you said, everything he touches turns to gold, man. So there you go.
Yeah, even Captain Phillips. Oh, yeah, they're just popped up on the live chat because I was thinking of that one. He just did an excellent job in it. It's sometimes these movies aren't movies we want to watch over and over again, but he always does a really good job. In all
Who are you taking over Tom Hanks for this generation?
Well,
Right now.
it depends on if you're just talking about the quality of actor or what I enjoy.
Well, let's go quality of actor and what you enjoy.
I don't think anyone tops him
Apollo
in terms of-
13. There's another one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone tops him in terms of quality of actor. I mean, everything he's in. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a Tom Hanks movie that did not do well? But
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah.
I do like this one. Let's bring it
Sully,
up. Denzel.
that's true.
Denzel's
Mhm.
he's up there.
But he hasn't done as much though
No.
in recent years.
Hasn't done as much. No, I mean I'd go Denzel number 2 probably. But
Yeah, I don't
Denzel's
know
up
that
there.
anyone could touch Tom Hanks. Can I tell a quick story about Tom Hanks? For the for my wife's and my was it our 15th wedding anniversary? No, it wasn't our 15th. No, it was our 10th. So this was like over 6 years or so ago. We took a weekend trip to New York. Didn't have as many kids at the time. Someone else was watching them. We went up there, caught a show. We saw Phantom of the Opera. I think I've even mentioned that here before. But after we came out of Phantom, we went to walk towards our hotel, which was just, we had to go over to Times Square and just on the other side of it. And we couldn't get past the street because there was all these people mobbed outside the street. And we're like, what's going on? I'm like, I know what's at that theater. That's the theater where for just a short time, Tom Hanks was doing a Broadway play. And everyone was outside waiting for Tom Hanks. So we couldn't get by. So we're like, well, we might as well stand here and see if we can see Tom Hanks. And Courtney B. Vance was also in the movie, if you or in the play, if you know who that is. He was on he was on one of the Law and Orders and some stuff like that. He came out and we saw him, and then we were maybe four people deep. Out comes Tom Hanks in him with a mustache. So it was very interesting to see that. So got some pictures. I mean, not with him, but we got pictures of
Rita Wilson
Tom
lets
Hanks.
him have a mustache.
Yeah. So we actually, in our first trip together to New York, we saw Tom Hanks.
See, now for me, like enjoyment, I'm going to agree with Ryan Kellerman and say like Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler, because honestly, I love everything that those guys do too. And so they're not the actors of Tom Hanks, but at the same time, I love their movies. They're hysterical. It's just, but that's just me. That's just me. So
Adam Sandler, I think, has kind of dropped off a little bit for me with some of the Netflix stuff and stuff he's doing, but I'll agree with you more on Will Ferrell.
I heard his new movie coming.
Yeah, he's got Oscar buzz.
Really, really good. It's not funny at all. Oh my gosh, you all right, Brian?
Like taking pictures over there. So.
My daughter she's still up. It's 10:12 and she's still up. We got her one of those Instamatics, like a Polaroid, but I think it's from Fuji or something, and which the film is absolutely expensive. And I'm trying to like, this is not like a digital
That's
camera.
exactly why we didn't get my daughter one. We're like, sweetheart, the film is super expensive. You get like 10 pictures from it.
So
She's
here
like,
on Christmas Day, she opens up. I'm like trying to give the lecture. Now you know with a film, and my wife's just save it for later. Like now she's snapping pictures of everything. So now there's gonna be a Polaroid of me. In fact, hey Jillian, bring the picture. Let's see it. Bring the picture. Let's see it. We'll show it to everybody here. Oh, there's no film. Oh, okay, so now it was a prank. But there you go. So someone says Jim Carrey. I'm kind of done with Jim Carrey now. And it's not Man on the Moon was his best, but I'm kind of not. I don't think he's that great anymore.
Dumb and Dumber, still the best.
Still the best, but when they tried to when the Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible. They ruined those characters.
It was bad. So I'll tell you what, guys. I wanted to keep it around 30 minutes. We've done that and some. So I want to think, let's cut it off here. It's been a good after party. Thank you for the 70-some people that were actually here for it. Guys, thanks for your time. And remember, like these videos, even this one. Comment, share them, subscribe. You don't miss anything. Who's the burning question this week?
I believe it is me.
There you go. So Saturday, Bryan Anthony Davis will be on for the burning question. Lance will be on tomorrow night for I Said It. There goes Bryan again. We'll see you next week. Tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe.